it doesn't matter how much proof you've got. If people are not interested, they're not bothered.
Yeah.
They'd rather sit there and watch the TV, get their daily dose of bullshit, and believe that's true. And they don't have to worry about thinking for themselves.
Yeah, so you were saying about the first time you came on.
Yeah, I was thinking like, yeah, I'm up for it. But my worry was, you better make sure whatever you talk about is on point, or you can show where you found that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to look like the biggest bullshitter. That's your main worry, looking like an idiot.
Yeah.
But you just gotta. Fuck it, I'm gonna do it. So I just did it, and if you look back at the old podcasts, like first I started off really nervous, and then like through the other podcasts, it's just literally become pretty easy and enjoyable. You know what I mean? The first one was like panicking and worried at the start.
Yeah.
But I think you can tell that in the quality of.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Well, I'm nervous myself.
Yeah.
I was showing you before, I've not put out any videos or content for 6 months. It's
Mad.
awful. Just had a lot of stuff going on, and
Yeah.
had to focus on family stuff and what was important. But
Yeah. And you've had a lot of people not
turn up.
Yeah, turn up.
Yeah.
So
It happens. Like we were just saying, it's a big thing for people, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Coming on camera and revealing all. But,
Yeah.
have no fear, folks. I do edit and stuff. If you say the wrong thing or look a complete arse, I'll try and lighten it up a little bit.
But if you don't turn up, he just has to give Old Faithful a call, doesn't he?
Yeah. So what's this, the fifth
This
time
will be the
now?
fifth one, yeah.
No way.
Yeah. So
So,
we've tried to do a couple before. I mean, I came up last Christmas, didn't I? And we ran out of time. And then I came up another time and the equipment wouldn't work.
yeah.
And it's like, but it's been a while though, isn't it? It's been how long?
Been about a year, I think.
About a year.
Yeah. It's been
Jesus.
a year, man.
Yeah, it's a long time. Lots happened since.
A lot's happened since. Been trying to make a few improvements to the studio and audio-wise and stuff.
Every time I come here, it looks better and better. And
Oh, thanks, man.
all the little touches, actually, they work, don't they?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it's getting there. It's definitely. But like I said, if I ever make any money from it, first thing's going back into the cameras, man.
yeah.
I need some proper cameras. These are only webcams, and trying my best on a budget with lighting and stuff, but I do what we can
You're
to.
doing good. It looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah, thanks, man. It's getting there. So how have you been anyway?
Well, I'll be honest, I've literally, a lot of this, the start of this year anyway, I steered away from a lot of looking at anything. Tried to enjoy, done quite a lot of racing this year, tried to enjoy that. That didn't go great. Spend a bit of time with the missus when I've not had work. I've been flat out of work. Going away in the camper when I can. It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got to focus on life sometimes, hasn't you? So.
Yeah, I mean, especially after the whole COVID thing, it made me realise that it doesn't matter how much proof you've got. If people are not interested, they're not bothered.
Yeah.
They'd rather sit there and watch the TV, get their daily dose of bullshit, and believe that's true. Then they don't have to worry about thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
So
you can literally send yourself insane, can't you? Once you get in that algorithm and you're watching
if they don't,
stuff.
it doesn't matter what you show them. If they don't want to believe it, you're just wasting your own energy. It's no point in it.
Yeah.
So it's what I'm going to enjoy my life. Just do what I can along the way.
Yeah, focus on yourself for a bit, definitely. And you got a new puppy, right?
Yeah, we've got another English bulldog, Christmas Eve.
Oh.
Little Dolly, go with Albert. So
yeah. Got a friend now.
Yeah, he ain't gonna be lonely and chewing all my stuff anymore, hopefully. So
yeah, you were telling me about that. Some of your collector's things and stuff.
yeah,
what happened?
All my old books, and we bought an antique armchair, and we'd only had it less than a day. Come home from work, there's nothing left of it.
Oh no!
Ripped to bits. Cost a fortune, and now it's worthless.
Oh no!
Yeah.
We had a similar thing with our older dog now, because we got a little one, but chewing everything. I think most of it for the dogs is boredom when they're on their own. Yes,
if you're at work,
separation anxiety.
Yeah, I mean, we have a dog walker come in every day because me and the missus are at work. It's only for like half an hour in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So hopefully bit of companionship, which, you know, dogs are pack animals, so they aren't really meant to be on their own.
No.
Hopefully this will calm them down a bit. So
yeah, it's good company for each other then, isn't it? And you said the older dog's accepted.
Yeah, so far so good. Well, it's a female, so he probably thinks it's his missus.
It was like that with ours. It took about 3 weeks for our male older dog to accept the little one.
Yeah.
Little girl one. Yeah, 3 weeks. He hated her at first.
And how is he usually with other dogs?
He's usually all right. He just keeps out the way.
Right.
Like we've had friends who come with dogs and stuff, and he doesn't bother. He'll just go and lie down. He's not bothered. However, if you're walking out on a lead and another dog approaches, you can feel the tension.
Right, okay.
A bit protective,
yeah.
But he's not a biter. He's a good dog, really. But
so we didn't really have any worries with Albert because he's literally, as soon as he sees other dogs or children, he just wants to go and play. So yeah, so it should be good. Should be all right.
Yeah, good. Well, best of luck with the new pup and stuff.
Need it. Sleepless nights already. So
yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah.
No way, man. Well, I tell you what, a lot has happened, hasn't it, in the world since we've last been.
Well,
We've had new government in the UK, new president-elect in the United States, man. I mean,
well, we predicted the president 2 years ago, didn't we? So
yeah,
that was pretty easy.
That was pretty obvious with the guys that he's got back in his corner.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a bit later. We'll go into the dark side of things.
Maybe for the unedited version.
Yeah. You can check the links and stuff. You'll always find a version if it's been censored here on YouTube.
Yeah, definitely.
But I tell you what, I wanted to ask you about the big final experiment, because I know in previous episodes we've talked about the flat earth stuff.
Yeah.
And we disagree on a few things, which is cool. We don't fall out over it. But yeah, I was explaining to you the other night, wasn't I, to go and check out the final experiment. Group of guys have gone down to Antarctica. Massive things, cost quite a lot of money. Teams and teams.
And it was teams from both sides went together, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
It was a joint effort to find the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good. Although, so put it this way, so what in the flat Earth map, the azimuthal equidistant map, the South Pole is all around the outside of the map.
On that model,
So with that model, flat earthers don't think there can be a 24-hour sun at the South Pole. If you know what I mean. Obviously, because it's going to be the other side of the map the sun is.
Yeah.
But it's also looking for video evidence on YouTube over the years. Every time you found one, it was clearly edited. So you couldn't tell if it was legit or not.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So what the flat earthers did and the ball earthers, they went down together to prove to see if it was there or not. And they found that they did have a 24-hour sun in the southern hemisphere, in the South Pole, sorry.
And they did lots of flying as well around Antarctica. Lots of aerial footage. They didn't find the big ice wall, you know.
Well, the ice wall is there, isn't it? It is the edge where it meets the water.
Yeah, but it yeah.
And that is all the way around. But
from what they're saying, you know, they were wrong, you know. And
totally. I mean, the flat earthers can't deny that really doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Well, at least it can't be perceived as to fit the model how we think it works.
Yeah.
So
because one of them was saying, well, maybe the model's wrong. Somebody needs to rethink this. And then the ones that were saying, you know, sorry, we were wrong, we got it wrong. They're getting trolls and comments saying, oh, you must be working for the other side. It's a psyop. You're lying to us, and it's like, oh, come on, man.
Well, I can't believe they've gone through. No, I don't believe that they're sellouts.
No,
it's genuine. You know, they're being honest.
Yeah.
So that's what they found. They're out there. They are people that are after the truth. So what else are you going to put out? You're going to put the truth out, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I don't know what it means. I mean, there's too much of other stuff that doesn't work on a ball for us to all of a sudden think, oh, it's on a ball. You can see there is no curve. There is no measurable curve. So,
Well, we disagree on that one, but
well, do you think there is?
yeah.
So how can you see, distances of up to 30 miles in a straight line?
Well, it's perspective, isn't it? Because of the size of the Earth is so big.
Yeah, but it's
Like I did an experiment years ago.
It's 8 inches per mile squared.
But I did an experiment years ago, and if you go on Google Earth on the 3D version model, and then even if you go up to like the height of commercial airliner, and you look around, it still looks flat because it's just so huge. That's why people go up in the airplane, they're like, oh, we can't see the curve. It's like, no, you can't. You'd have to be in space to see the curve.
You can measure, but if it was a ball, the horizon wouldn't rise to eye level.
Right. Well, I haven't got an instant answer for that one, but I'm sure there's a reason why.
But you get what I'm saying, don't you?
Yeah.
As you rise up, you just see more and more and more. If it's on a ball, it is falling away from the moment you go up. So it will always remain, the horizon will always remain low.
I just think it's because it's so big.
No, but you would see further, but the horizon would always remain low.
Well, we can definitely agree maybe there's some inconsistencies in the official models of things.
I mean, 8 inches per mile squared, you wouldn't be able, I don't think you wouldn't even be able to see France, but on a clear day in Dover, you can see France.
Right.
So unless I can see around curves, which I can't, I can only see in a straight line.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting anyway, and the flat Earth model that they were showing to us and selling to us has been proved wrong now. So, well, let's see what else they come up with.
You say proved wrong. There's something that we don't understand on it. So,
at
least we're honest about it. Well, how the 24-hour sun works in the south.
Yeah, all right. So, my missus was asking about this. She said, I don't understand how it works. And I literally got a torch.
Yeah.
And I got one of the pet's toys, like a football. And I was shining from a distance.
Yeah.
And I literally shown her how on the certain angles and the tilts, you'll always have the light at the bottom and then it'll shade on the top, on the sides, how it works.
Yeah.
And then in the summer, that'll be in the north. So you have parts of, is it Norway and stuff that have the 24-hour sun in the summer, certain part of the year. So it kind of proves the tilt and everything.
It doesn't prove the tilt.
And it proves it all to me. It's like
it proves that's an explanation. Just like on the flat Earth map, the sun moves from the centre to the outside.
Literally just with a football and a torch. I proved it to myself.
If you were standing on the ground looking up, right, what would you say was moving?
What do you mean? What's moving?
Well, do you feel like the Earth's moving, or does it look like the sun's moving?
Yeah, but it's just because it's
does
so
it look
slow,
like the sun's moving or the Earth's moving? Do you feel the Earth moving?
Yeah, you don't feel the Earth moving, but it definitely is moving.
Right, so
it's 24 hours to turn all the way around, which is like so slow. And then like the flat Earth people say,
but you got to think of it. Think of it like a waltzer, right? Because you're going around the sun, plus the Earth spinning. So obviously, at some point, as you're going round, you're on the back of the ball, and then you're being accelerated faster as you go around the ball, as you go around the sun.
Right.
So you are always speeding up and slowing down.
Yeah.
And that's not measurable, is it?
Right, well, you've got me there, definitely. Maybe you're right. Maybe it's flat. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong.
Maybe I just don't understand it enough to explain it properly.
Don't get me wrong. Obviously, their explanations have to seem plausible for people to believe it.
Yeah, I just don't believe like all the pilots and everyone's in on it.
Why would the pilots be in on it?
Like that's what a lot of people say in the community.
Of course they're not.
Well, that's what they say.
No. Well, I've not heard anybody say the pilots are in on it.
Right.
So I don't know who you'd be listening to.
But wouldn't they know through flying that every so many miles they need to dip down or point down or something?
Yeah, well, that's the theory. Because obviously, as you're flying flat, the Earth falls away.
Yeah.
But then the ball earthers argument is the gravity keeps them perpendicular to the surface.
Oh, right, okay.
But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you'll ask any pilot.
Interesting.
But it's simple to me. If you can do it on a 3D model in like a computer program, you can make a ball same size as the Earth, and you can come up off the surface, till you see the curve. So you can measure it to when you should see the curve.
Yeah.
All right, it doesn't take into account the atmospherics and stuff like that, but But with that model, the horizon never rises to eye level. But if you put it on a flat plane and you do it, the horizon always rises to eye level.
Right, okay.
Right, yeah? Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you, but I just can't. My brain's
You can't
like,
picture it.
Yeah.
We'll have to show you it.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah, definitely. We'll continue this.
I think a lot of people's perception on this is how they envision what's being talked about. Because that's the problem I had with it at the start. I knew there was something to it, but I couldn't get my head around certain things. And then I started watching Jeranism when he first started his channel. And he was in the same sort of boat as us. And what he used to do is draw things out just in paint. Just little simple videos to explain it. And then other people started making better videos with graphics and in the like movie making software just to show actually what people are starting to mean. And then you get it. And then you think, oh my God, it makes so much sense.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I get that. I get
the
that.
tilt of the earth. Yeah, it works with the angles of the sun. But
I don't remember it all offhand, but I did spend about 8 hours watching Flat Earth stuff and trying to, see their point of it. And then I spent probably half the amount of time watching the debunking stuff, and it just straight away was made more sense to me.
This is the thing.
What I mean?
It's impossible to find a decent Flat Earth video.
And people like, what's he called? The guy who does the 200 proofs, Flat Earth proofs. What's he called now?
Was it Eric Devine?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Eric Devine, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he there's a guy on YouTube who points out his 200 proofs, and literally the first 5 of them are just so ridiculous without even getting into the rest.
Yeah.
About the train tracks and stuff like that. And I think it doesn't do it any favours, really.
No, I mean, there is a lot of misconceptions about certain things that don't really prove it.
Yeah.
They can work on both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think a lot of people's is you've got to obviously you got to remember Flat Earther knows everything a Globe Earther already knows because they've researched it. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Have you seen Flat Earth Dave though?
Flat Earth Dave?
Yeah.
No, I haven't watched any Flat Earth stuff for a long time now.
Okay. Yeah.
I only watched the experiment thing because you mentioned it to me.
There's a few good debates with him and is it Professor Dave? Sean Atwood did a co-host thing with him for a couple of hours, and it is interesting, but you sort of see when you have somebody there that understands the stuff and can explain it properly. It makes so much more sense than what the other guy's saying to me.
Most of this stuff with space is just theory. No one's ever proved it.
Yeah, I believe that. Yeah.
It's a theory that fits what we see.
Yeah.
Yeah? But also, nearly all if not all of the Flat Earth stuff, apart from that last piece so far, is probably the only thing that I've seen so far that doesn't fit what we see.
Yeah.
On that model.
I think what it all comes down to is that when you realise you've been lied to so much about so many things.
Yeah.
From the minute you're born.
When you see them faking being up in the ISS, I mean, why are they faking it if they really can do it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I seen a funny one actually recently. You see the guys, the man and woman that are stuck up there. And then it's shown that they had Christmas hats on and they were saying
exactly. Where the fuck did they get that from then?
But I thought about that and I thought, well, is it really that far-fetched to say that they might have some Christmas hats stored up there?
That's one thing. There was one year with the Super Bowl. So I can't remember how, but they'd have had to take it. I mean, it costs so many £1,000 per kilo to take up. Yeah. Certain things. But when they went up, they wouldn't have even known who would have been in the Super Bowl. So they've had to taken every single American football shirt up there beforehand. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You wouldn't do it. They weren't meant to be up there anyway, were they, for that long?
It says they were stuck up there. I don't really know much about the story.
So why would they have Christmas stuff up there?
Oh, maybe they have a storage cupboard with Christmas stuff.
You wouldn't fucking waste
Halloween masks.
Wouldn't waste space and time and energy in taking that stuff up there. If it's something up there that's serious.
But I suppose it'd be more for like mental health and stuff, wouldn't it? If you're stuck up there, you can at least participate in.
I'm calling bullshit. Proper bullshit.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there is a lot of bullshit that the spinners.
Surely you've seen the videos where they're literally on the wires, where the green screen doesn't work properly.
Yeah, of course.
Right, so what are they faking it?
Right, well, let
really
me just say, like, I don't buy the flat Earth stuff, and people think I'm crazy anyway, so I'm just going to say
each to their own.
I believe that the moon landing footage and all that was
Bollocks,
complete BS, faked.
Yeah.
Whether they went there or not, I don't know, but what they shown us was fake, clearly fake.
Right.
I've got one of my good friends who laughs his ass off when I mention this and just doesn't believe me, but when you research it properly and look at it
doesn't
the tech
take a
and
lot
stuff,
now, not these days with the technology that's about and what we can compare, and what we know about just like physics and how stuff works.
Yeah. And that's not to say that they haven't been there at some point, put the little flag up there or whatever, but I think we were sold complete bullshit.
I dare say there'd be more people laughing their head off that he does believe it nowadays.
Yeah, true.
Would you?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I know hardly anybody who still believes they went. At least they question it.
Why have they not been back?
That's a long. It's a long time. We went there on the technology of a Game Boy.
Yeah,
but we can't go back now, and they even admit we can't do it now. So what the fuck?
But yeah, Elon's sending cars into space and
where the all of a sudden the Earth stops moving in the background. More green screen shit. Bollocks.
Yeah, they do a lot of fakery with that stuff, and I guess that's why it gives the flat Earth community so much traction, isn't it? Because there's so much fake stuff, and then you have people from NASA coming out and saying, "Oh, all these models you see, all these pictures you see of Earth from space are composites. They're actually made up of loads of other images and CGI and
data."
Yeah.
So nobody
could that be because we can't have a camera high tech enough to go out to space to film it at the proper angle, or is this something they don't want us to see?
Well, apparently they can.
Yeah,
because they can apparently take pictures on the moon of Earth where there's no atmosphere, so they can clearly see everything else.
Yeah.
So it's too much fakery for it to be real. Why are they faking so much if they can do it?
Well, they're working on all this space travel thing now, aren't they?
It's just
we'll
money
soon see, man.
It's money funneled into a black budget. Well, the only thing they're worried about and concentrating on is culling and controlling us, basically, at the end of the day. And that's what it's all about. And who created NASA? So,
the
Americans that are run by...
Yeah. We know who.
Yeah. Zionists.
Yeah. Basically. Well, it's going to be the most Zionist cabinet that's ever existed. Once Trumpy gets in.
And also, before they changed the definitions or left it out of certain things, NASA in Hebrew meant to deceive. So,
right, okay.
Yeah. You can find it in old dictionaries and translations, but you can't find it in new ones. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So you reckon a lot of it was for the black budget and stuff and just funding?
All the money now. It's like they say every time you see a NASA program, they go to the Congress for a budget of a certain amount. Every time what happens is, we've like 75% completed the project, but we've run out of money. Can we get some more?
Right, okay.
They always have to give them more, because if they don't, the last lot of it has been a waste of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we do it every time. And that money is just funneled into black budget ops, probably stuff like you see with drones that we're seeing in America now.
Funding these moderate rebels. It's for a regime change as well.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, so, I mean, they are literally there. All it is a research thing, and the whole space thing is a front. It's all they do with NASA is control how far the rest of the world can go up and actually see what's going on.
Yeah.
That's it for me. That's all I think about it.
I think it's only a matter of time before someone independent gets out there or something happens, but I'm sure they'll do their best to stop that.
Exactly. You have to, everything that goes up a certain height has to be cleared with FAA, is it in America, which go through NASA.
Right.
And yeah, you wouldn't be able to do anything that they don't want, and they'll know about it.
Well, speaking about clearance in the skies, like, what about all these drones flying over all the military bases and stuff?
Yeah, see, I've not really... my missus was telling me about this the other day, and she was, like, really into it, but she's like, oh, I don't know what it is. And I'm like, I'll tell you what it is. It's a distraction. It's nothing but our technology being tested. The military know what's going on. I dare say the government know what's going on. But by saying they don't, it just creates massive hype and story.
The hysteria is unreal.
To just distract you from whatever else they're getting up to behind your back.
You've got talking heads saying it's Russian drones, it's China, they're preparing some big attack.
It's always Russia, isn't it? Always.
The conspiracy side of things are like, it's the fake alien invasion, it's Project Bluebeam. And I'm saying, no, it's none of that.
That would be more likely the Russians.
Well, I just think it's Elon and his buddies testing some new tech because once Trump gets into position, they've got a few plans in the Middle East for him and stuff. Yeah. So I think it's new tech for the next,
I think also what
chess piece move.
Yeah, what getting Trump in power has done is gave him all his mindless followers that used to be so-called truthers or awake people. It's given them free rein to get away with whatever they want in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, because what Trump does is Trump's a god there now, isn't he? I mean, all the people that were waking up to the corruption and the control of government from behind the scenes in America, like Alex Jones, it's just sent everybody back to sleep.
Yeah.
They've gave a truth movement that literally had no leader, that was pointing out everything that was going on, finding and researching everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Basically, all he's done is become the figurehead of that movement, and then leading them back down the path again. And I can't believe Alex Jones is, because he's just part of the problem at the end of the day. I mean, he was good.
Controlled opposition.
Yeah, he was, at the very least, he's being allowed to do it. You know what I mean? He was good at start. I mean, I learned a lot from him in the early days. Yeah. Whether he was legit back then and he's sold out now, I don't know. But what I did learn is he will only let you know so much.
Yeah.
He's a gatekeeper. Gatekeeper.
Yeah. Just thinking that word then. Yeah. Definitely. There's too many gatekeepers in the movements, man. But it's crazy. It's like what a lot of people won't see, and a lot of the people that support Trump, and even people in the UK, friends of mine, are like, oh, don't you think it's good, Trump? He's funny, innit? He's funny, innit? He's better than that crazy Biden. But they've made it this way. So they let Biden in, knowing he was going senile. They've jumped on every little slip that he's made to show how...
Like an idiot he is.
Yeah.
So you'll accept
anything. And they've gave you the choice of this guy that can speak, this guy that's like sort of shadowing your genuine concerns, like with all this, the woke stuff and all the gender stuff. And it's like, yeah, of course I can agree with that. That makes sense. And then he talks about draining the swamp.
Yeah, so you've been given a choice. They put basically an old man who can't speak with dementia in. Yeah. Then they give you the other option, which is a clown.
Yeah. And then they flip it with Kamala, who nobody really knows, and they just they can't see it though, the whole left-right thing, how it's controlled and stuff.
They must be literally pissed themselves laughing at us. Well, not necessarily us, but Americans in their case. But
the scary thing
much better here when we had. What was the woman who got elected and got kicked out?
Oh, Liz Truss.
So this is the woman who couldn't even find Russia on a map.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Everything she did was literally, what the fuck? That makes no sense. Yeah. Her economic policy was literally, she don't even understand how money works. So then giving you Richie Sunak.
Yeah. Yeah, oh God.
So that's the only reason you would have accepted him, because before it all came out of his missus being a billionaire and taking government contracts.
Yeah. And he was the worst thing ever, and now Labour's in, people want him back. Oh, God.
Yeah, well, Keir Starmer, I mean, he's something else, isn't he?
Oh, wow, yeah.
I mean, how this country isn't calling for his head and him to be hung, I do not know. I don't know how they accept it. But... Nigel Farage, again, speaks the right thing, says the right thing.
And then you look at his manifesto. He's kneeling, isn't he, to the same power structure.
Yeah, but I like what he said. I can't knock his message. It's bang on.
And this is the same thing they've done with Trump. So a lot of people who follow him like what he's saying, but they don't see the bigger picture. But
also with Labour getting in, I mean, everyone I spoke to said they voted for Farage and his reform. Yeah, I can't find one Labour voter.
Right.
Everywhere I've been, spoke to people about it. I can't find a single Labour voter.
Just come up north, mate. There's plenty.
Is there?
Oh yeah, this town's a Labour town we're in now, and
is it?
Yeah, it's not any better though. It's corrupt as hell.
I just don't understand. I don't understand how they won because, well, Keir Starmer's history for a start, him releasing Jimmy Savile saying there weren't enough evidence, stuff like that. I mean, this guy is in there with the worst of the worst. Well, we've seen from his first action, which was take away old people's heating allowance.
Yeah.
I mean, what more of a statement do you want from that first thing you do? Surely you would do something good to start with to make an impact.
Yeah. You're supposed to be for the people and Labour and to make things easier for people that are, not as well off and stuff. And
he is the most, I would say, he's fucking dangerous. That's what he is, I would say. Fucking dangerous.
Yeah, they all are, man. They all are. The whole left-right thing is just...
This guy knows... There's no bounds with this bloke, I tell you. He will literally run us into the ground. He'd be willing to string us all up, I think, for the sake of his owners. When he should be hung, really, for treason, I think, what he's done to this country so far.
Yeah, well...
I know they're strong words, but that's what sort of thing needs to happen to start making people finally realise you can't just fuck us about anymore.
Well, I was on TikTok with Kip last night. He was doing a live and joining in, talking and stuff. And the amount of people that were joining in the debate, calling for a revolution.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Is that what they want?
Exactly. And that's what Kip was explaining. He's like, the reality of it is quite different to what people realise. And if you look back in history, a lot of the revolutions have been controlled by the same power structures for certain reasons. And what's a revolution? It revolves. It's a full circle back to where you started. So you've got to be very careful. And who's in control of something like that? Because if you imagine a violent revolution on the streets of Britain, you've got gangs,
well, let's just look at Tommy Robinson.
There you go.
Because obviously you see Tommy Robinson and he puts out a pretty good message. I mean, what the stories he puts out and tells you about, I would say are probably pretty accurate and true.
Yeah.
But they are in isolation. It doesn't happen everywhere. Do you know what I mean? But he makes it sound like this is going on a daily basis with all Muslims. And now all he seems to do is create a bigger divide. Yeah. And that's one thing we don't want in this country, as we will never win.
Yeah.
So, to me, well, we find out it's controlled by the same people, the Zionists, Israel is controlled by them.
I want to look on a deeper level to that because I've been seeing all this building up stuff and obviously how Tommy's been treated by the establishment is, for certain things which just further heightens the problem.
It gets people pissed off and angry and all riled, doesn't it? By treating him bad and putting him in prison for no reason, people are like, no, we're not having it.
Yeah. The bigger picture is that they're riling up the masses, they're mobilising people. Yeah. And the thing is, it's like, if Tommy Robinson pointed out all forms of evil equally, like the stuff in the Middle East, the reasons why there's so many migrants in this country, the people behind the decisions to keep them here and bend the laws and give them more rights, and the people that are making the British people feel the way that they did, is not pointing out the bigger picture.
No.
And what it seems like at the moment is there's this build-up and people are getting pissed off.
Yeah.
And we know the plans for the Middle East, for the greater you-know-what project.
Greater Israel project. You can say that, I think.
Yeah. And we know how their final sort of we know their final chapter is Iran. You look at all their manifestos and all their stuff since 9/11, that is what they've been planning. So I feel like they're waiting for this big war in the Middle East, So if they rile the masses up on the streets, get them all pissed off, get them divided, and a war breaks out and the British get involved, what does that mean? It means all the people like me or you that subscribe to that way of thinking, go and join in the army. I'm not having this, defending my country.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they're going to be so happy to do it and be cannon fodder for the next big elite war. It's like, come on, man.
And, you know, it's just, you got all the things that Keir Starmer's doing, like we're saying with the old people, the farmers. And on a subconscious level, that's just doing the same thing as Tommy Robinson's doing. It's just building that level of fucking anger that people just want to...
Yeah.
They want to do something.
Yeah.
And it's just going to boil up to that point where...
I seen it last night on TikTok. They're like, oh, we need violent... And Kit was explaining about previous revolutions, and if you look deeper into them, you'll find that there's a hidden hand in most of them.
What we want is people to just turn up. This is how it needs to work. I mean, can you remember the pots and pans revolution in Iceland?
No. I remember the pots and pans for the nurses at 8 p.m. every night.
Oh, no. So in 2008, they had the pots and pans revolution where people in Iceland were like, no, we ain't having this anymore. This government needs out. So I think there's only like 800,000 people live in Iceland.
Right.
But they all went, not all of them, obviously, but a lot of people went to the Parliament building. And they just sat there for days, banging pots and pans, till the government said, right, we give up.
Right? No way.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
And that's how it needs to work, a peaceful one.
Yeah.
Where they can't do anything. Anything they do will make it seem like they're the aggressors. They can't have that.
I think
they need to make us look like the aggressors for the majority of the sleep masses to put up with them fighting us.
Exactly. Yeah. You find a lot of that in... we used to do the radio stuff back in the day. We covered all this stuff, but a lot of the G20 riots and various Occupy protests and stuff, you'd have like people in black, brand new, fresh out the shop, black uniforms and black boots and black hoodies and balaclavas, and they'd be the ones at the front that would be starting the fires, smashing the shop windows, attacking the police. Yeah. And then you'd see other footage that people have got of the police like quickly letting them in behind the line and then taking the stuff off, and it's like, you bastards.
Yeah, so...
You know what I mean? So they wherever there's genuine uprising or genuine something, they put their provocateurs in to start
so they
the
always
trouble.
try and make the people who are there peacefully protesting look like the bad ones.
Yeah.
Then it gives them a free rein to come down on them with a heavy hand, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Problem, reaction, solution.
But how the police put up with this and let this happen just shows what sort of organisation they are.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of them most of them are just genuine, normal people doing a job, but you look into the hierarchy of the police system, you get into the Freemasonic Lodge and the need to know things and the different levels and stuff. And
I mean, you see, like, I think they have to do an IQ test, don't they, to get to the police?
Do they?
And I'm sure I've read that if it's of a certain amount, you don't get in.
Ah, right.
Yeah, as like a Bobby on the beat sort of thing.
I don't know.
So that tells you they don't want intelligent people asking questions, and they just want people to follow orders.
Yeah.
So,
or maybe someone in the comments, any Bobbies watching this can comment.
Why don't they come on? I'm sure there is someone out there that can tell us about all this, what they've seen behind the scenes. Be anonymous if you want to do that.
Yeah. Can do a little voice disguising if we need to.
Blank the face.
Can
sound like this, so you don't know who it is. Put a little blur over your face and no face, no case.
Yeah, man. Guys, if you tuned into this is the iemedia podcast. Here with my good friend Adam again for the 5th time. He's been on previously. If you want to check out his journey and some of this stuff in more of a deeper context, maybe go back and check some of the other episodes. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget that it's available on all the audio apps, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for iemedia podcast or visit my link tree and you'll find all the links needed. And equally, if you're listening to this on the audio apps and want to view it and see our ugly asses, then come onto YouTube and you'll see it. And you can see all my other types of content too. So, Adam, we're back on the podcast. How's it going, man?
Yeah.
So far,
good.
Enjoying it?
Yeah. It takes me a little while to get back into it. It's been that long. Plus, I haven't really been researching anything in detail, I would say so.
Yeah.
Maybe for the next one, I will probably give it a few days. looking into stuff first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we were talking earlier, we mentioned it briefly about these drones and stuff. And the thing a lot of the drone experts are pointing out is the technology that these drones are using are like something we've never seen before, in terms of they're flying from somewhere in the ocean across half of America for 5 hours and then flying back. And the way that they move, the way that the tracking and radar systems just don't pick them up at all. There's no heat signature. It's very, very strange. But
so we're told.
Yeah, so we're told. But I do think that it's just the government testing some new tech for the upcoming war that they have planned. You know, these global elites and stuff. Whilst fearing the masses that it's Russia or it's China or it's aliens. It's just mass hysteria, isn't it? But I think 2025 is going to be interesting, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, it's like this year has just been distraction after distraction. I'm talking from experience, it's like my missus was obsessed with this. Do you remember the Jay Slater case?
Yeah, let's get into that.
It went missing in Tenerife.
Yeah.
And it was just like, there are these YouTubers that are investigating it and people that have gone out there and they're in contact with the YouTubers. And literally you were just getting story after story that you couldn't corroborate with any other story. So you were just having to build a picture of what was going on in your head from all these different stories, half of them conflicted. And you were just going nowhere, just chasing your tail. And it was just daily. And my missus got obsessed with it, trying to work out what was going on. I think that's half the thing, just to keep you occupied. Yeah. And then also the same happened with this, One Direction singer fell out of his balcony.
Oh, Liam Payne.
Yeah, and they're claiming that there were people that were in his room at the time, or he was off his head on drugs, and stuff like that. People have been arrested over it. There's no way you're going to find out the truth. There's just that many people reporting different versions of the same story.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I watched a lot of that Jay Slater stuff. It was very interesting, wasn't it?
No doubt that we weren't told the truth and he was killed, but trying to obsess over what exactly happened, you're never going to know. And that was the whole point of putting out all these different versions.
It made me think as well, like if people put the same energy and time and focus into
the research in the government.
Yeah.
Fuck, I know.
Then, yeah. Crazy.
And that shit would be easy to find out. It's all documented.
Yeah. It's getting harder to find now, though, isn't it? You've got to go to alternative platforms these days to actually find out what the mass media aren't telling you. And you can believe it that there's always another side to what the mass media is telling you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
I mean, as you look through history, there's always different versions of the truth. And, funny thing is, I'm told that by someone who only looks at one side of the truth when they have the arguments at work with a certain person,
right,
over history, and I tell him what I've found and researched over the years, the lies, and he's the one who tells me there's two sides to every story. I said, yeah, but you ain't even looked at another side. So what are you telling me for?
Yeah,
but that might be something you want to get into.
Definitely.
Bit of history later, maybe.
Yeah. Well, definitely two sides to every story in the media and stuff. And I see it time and time again. And sometimes I have a little look, through the news things and see what the cycle is, see what yarn they're spinning. And then sometimes I'm just like, right, yeah, that's enough for 1 week. And I just have to take myself away from it.
I read some of the stories, it just makes me angry.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I read the first few lines, I think that's bullshit. Yeah. I just know it in myself before I've even read the rest of the article. It's a spin.
Yeah.
So I do not read newspapers anymore, that's for sure. And the only thing I ever really listen to is podcasts with researchers, historians, proper historians, none of these mainstream clowns who are paid off. And mate, one news outlet I do like is UK Column.
Okay.
Because I think it puts it across in a way where They're just telling you what's going on. They don't try and make you form an opinion.
Yeah.
They put the information out there. You take it however you want. And everything they put out there, they can give you proof for. They give you the links to everything they talk about in each newscast.
Yeah. So it's not theories, it's
No,
factual
whereas
stuff.
you watch BBC News, you ain't got any footnotes to go and look at or research. You just have to take their word for it, which most of the time is because it's bollocks.
Yeah. There's always an agenda and there's always a talking point and a narrative that they're trying to follow. For instance, with the thing going on in Syria at the moment,
Yeah.
BBC News was showing how happy all the people were that they've been liberated from the
just like they would
Assad.
Just like they were showing us how happy the Libyans were that Gaddafi was good when they loved Gaddafi.
Mm-hmm.
So all that bullshit. I mean, I remember, what was it? The first photos they showed of all these mass protests in Libya when all that started. Was that the start of the Arab Spring? I think it was, wasn't it?
Was it possibly
Yeah.
Egypt? And
Yeah, Libya. And then people were pointing out that the BBC was showing videos of people outside an Indian cricket ground. Because they had the Indian flags in the background, not the Libyan flag.
right. Okay.
But they missed that, you know what I mean? But they didn't apologise for that.
Yeah.
They just went with it.
And I think if you look, the research obviously we've done and many out there will have done, connecting the dots from 9/11 and beyond and the reasons for it and stuff. Multiple of them, but you know, one of the main talking points, which is going around at the moment, is Wesley Clark, the ex-American who's worked in the government. Forgive me, forgot his actual status.
You have to update me on this.
So there's lots of videos of this going back in the day. I had them on my YouTube channel, and Wesley Clark is talking about how he was handed a memo from upstairs, meaning Congress higher up, and it was talking about the need to take out 7 countries in 5 years.
Oh, I do know this.
Yeah.
About 10 days after 9/11, I went through the Pentagon and I saw Secretary Rumsfeld and Deputy Secretary Wolfowitz. I went downstairs just to say hello to some of the people on the Joint Staff who used to work for me. And one of the generals called me in. He said, "Sir, you got to come in. You got to come in and talk to me a second." I said, "Well, you're too busy." He said, "No." He says, "We've made the decision. We're going to war with Iraq." This was on or about the 20th of September. I said, "We're going to war with Iraq. Why?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "I guess they don't know what else to do." So I said, "Well, did they find some information connecting Saddam to Al-Qaeda?" He said, No. He says, "There's nothing new that way. They just made the decision to go to war with Iraq." He said, "I guess it's like we don't know what to do about terrorists, but we've got a good military and we can take down governments." So I came back to see him a few weeks later. And by that time, we were bombing in Afghanistan. I said, "Are we still going to war with Iraq?" And he said, "Oh, it's worse than that." He said, he reached over on his desk, he picked up a piece of paper, and he said, I just got this down from upstairs," meaning the Secretary of Defense's office today. And he said, "This is a memo that describes how we're going to take out 7 countries in 5 years, starting with Iraq and then Syria, Lebanon, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, and finishing off Iran."
Many of those countries since have toppled. It's not been within 5 years, granted.
No, but it has gone in the right order as well, hasn't it?
Yeah, and the final one of those was Iran.
Yeah.
And Trump seems like he's banging on the war drums for Iran.
Oh.
So it leads me to believe that it's all connected, everything that's happening in Syria. And these puppets, let's say, are used for regime change.
Yeah.
But the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
I mean, the guy at the moment who they're saying's better than Assad is Al-Qaeda guy, this Jolani. He was head of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. He's killed British and American troops in mass attacks, and now we're funding him with weapons and money.
Well, we were funding him. I'm sure he is our guy, basically, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's the one we want because he's the one who follows orders and does what we say when we're funding him on the back end of all weapons and military equipment.
Yeah.
To take out all these other countries.
Yeah.
But the thing is with all these countries that they've taken out in the Middle East is they were the last countries that use sound money. So they never had a central bank. They never used a usury system where everything's based on debt. Everything that was issued debt-free, which is in the Quran, which is the same as most religions. Like Jesus with the money changers. You know, it's the only time he got angry, isn't it? The Bible. He beat the money changers. Upturned the tables outside the worship place. So, yeah, I mean, we toppled them one by one, and they all got one thing in common: is none of them had a Rothschild-owned central bank. So, make of that what you will. And the Rothschilds and all the other owners of the, or what are they, shareholders of the central banks, have all got one thing in common.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, all these top guys have been saying for decades, haven't they, about the need for this world order. They call it a new world order or whatever world order, they spin on it.
They all seem to be Zionists calling for that, don't they?
You said it. Yeah.
So who are the Zionists working for?
Well, like I say, with Trump getting into power, it's going to be the most Zionist system that's been to date.
Yeah.
So I do think that we're going to see a lot more stuff play out in the Middle East within the next 4 years. I'm not putting dates and times on it or actual theories because you never know which of these nations that stand in the way are also compromised and end up just playing ball anyway. Yeah, but
what we do know is everything is planned out in advance, and that is going to happen, isn't it?
Seems that way.
Yeah.
It does.
I mean, to prove that theory, I mean, you sent me I think it was a documentary made on what's going on in Gaza at the minute, where it showed Netanyahu talking 20 years ago about this event that's happened now. That's how far it's planned out.
Yeah, we see it's all prophesized and stuff. I mean, many of the top rabbis in Israel are quite open about it. There's quite a lot of videos of them actually saying it from the horse's mouth about, you know, the need to completely clear Gaza of the Palestinians and take over that land.
Yeah.
And you've got some quite well-known people in Israel at the moment talking about how much the waterfront property in Gaza is going to be worth.
Yeah.
You know, and weighing it up, already thinking of the next outcome. And then I seen drone footage yesterday on X over northern Gaza, and it's just completely shambles. I think it's 85% of Gaza's just rubble now.
I mean, how much of a threat could they actually be? I mean, the Palestinians. They live in a 25 mile by 5 mile concrete concentration camp. All the water and food that goes in is controlled by the Israelis. How much of a threat can they actually be? They've got nothing. So all this, you see all the stories you hear on the BBC, and I'm going to call bullshit on most of that. I think if not, it's probably the other way around. They've spun it. That's actually what the Israelis are doing, and they're blaming the guy.
Funny enough, you know, you actually get more truth from the Israeli media than you do from the Western media. Because obviously the West aren't really watching Israeli media, but if you watch the Israeli media, you'll find out things that the West are just completely lying about.
Yeah,
you know,
because the Israelis are all born and bred to hate Palestinians. So they can just be honest about it.
Yeah.
You know, if they hear that 100 Palestinians have been killed, they're probably cheering in the streets. That's how it is.
It's a funny one, but, you know, not many people at the moment are happy in Israel. There's a massive anger towards Netanyahu and the government. There's been a lot of protests and stuff. And we even seen members of the IDF and stuff going on protest against their own government about what's happening. And then,
well, it's making them look really bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
and the IDF has spent how many years trying to make themselves look really good. So, but half the stuff that's happening now, they can't deny. So,
yeah, it's awful. I mean, what gets me is like the sheer amount of loss of life, you know, and basically murder.
Well, I don't understand how these Israelis literally have no empathy whatsoever towards them. I mean, they got to remember, Palestine, well, it was British rule Palestine back in 1930s, early 40s. But Palestine gave the Jews after World War II a piece of their land to settle in because they were unsettled.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what they've done is ethnically cleansed since 1948 the rest of Palestine for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And how the media portray it, because they're all owned by the same groups, Zionists, is that the Palestinians are the bad ones. But it's the Israelis, the invading army.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when they fight back, they look at me. Look, we're being attacked.
Yeah. It's awful, isn't it? I mean, you see the things that leads to, living in them sort of conditions, and you look back in history at the amount of times like the IDF have indiscriminately bombed and killed innocent people, and that causes deeper scars and sadness and anger, and then that builds up, and then it leads to Palestinians sometimes going out themselves, committing bad things, and then that just is like a big boiling pot, and it all adds to it.
Yeah, see, for me, like, these few are they even Palestinians? It could be just another false flag, because how are they getting the weapons? The only way they can get stuff in and out is through Israeli checkpoints.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know that back in the day it was the PLA, Palestinian Leadership Authority, that controlled Palestine. And then Hamas was propagated by Israel to be in power because they thought that was a better choice.
Yeah.
Funny enough, the same thing that we have happening across all the Middle East. We put in what we think is the better choice, and then problem, reaction, solution. We need to get rid of them.
Always seems to be the ones we control that end up in.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's
it wouldn't
crazy.
surprise me if the Israelis are smuggling in the weapons. They're probably ain't even the Palestinians doing anything. It's probably the Israelis.
Well, I don't
pretending
know.
to be Palestinians. I'm just saying, I'm not saying that's definite. I'm saying we see it happen elsewhere. It's possible.
Yeah.
Just to blame the
definitely.
Palestinians.
Oh, yeah, I do believe there's a lot of that. There's a lot of false flag stuff. And, it's like back in the day, we used to do the radio stuff. We used to cover a lot of the attacks that were going on and things happening in the world. And a lot of people in the conspiracy sort of movement straight away would jump on it and say, oh, it's fake, it didn't happen, it's all a stage, it's all this, it's all that. And then what I always say is, it's got to the point now where they got into people's minds that much and got everyone that divided fake. That it doesn't need to be fake. You will have the lone wolves and the people that go out and do crazy stuff because the programming is so strong. They don't need to be mind controlled by some CIA secret weapon. You know what I mean? They're just brainwashed. Yeah,
but even so, you would still probably. I'm just saying, if it was me, how I would think of it if I were to try to do the sort of things they're doing. You would locate certain people that think a certain way and maybe easy prey, and you would facilitate them to go out and do these things. Where, from a distance, where it's nothing to do with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The very least. But it wouldn't surprise me if it's literally that sort of thing in Gaza that's happening. I mean, you got to remember, they pretend to be their friend. Right, we'll get you some weapons and you need to start fighting back. Do you know what I mean? Stir it up, get a few people to go and fight back, then there's your cause to go in and kill everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's sadly the reality of what I think happened, I won't even say the name of the date because it will flag up with the algorithm and stuff, but the thing that happened last year in the fall, let's say, which led to this awful thing over the last year. There's even people in Israel, officials and stuff, saying, we let that happen, something's gone wrong. Netanyahu's all sorts of corruption charges and stuff. And weren't there certain countries he couldn't visit because he was going to be tried for war crimes? He would have been arrested for war crimes. Yeah, this is it. So the International Criminal Court has ruled Gaza to be a genocide, and they've said that Netanyahu and the commander of the IDF should be arrested for war crimes if they travel into any of the countries. But obviously that's never going to happen.
No, because at the end of the day, his people probably, his people own all the money. don't they? So they can pay off anybody.
Definitely pull a lot of strings in
Yeah.
the Western nations, let's say that. But yeah, I mean, it is really sad what's happening, and there's a lot of Jewish people that don't agree with it. I've seen them openly, like heartbroken about what's happening.
The problem is, it's not all Jews. There is a certain sect of the Jewish community, like in all religions, Christianity, Muslim, extremists.
Mm-hmm.
And it's that sect that literally they follow the Talmud. I mean, I don't know if you've read a few pages of that, but oh my God.
I think what it comes down to is extremism, doesn't it? I mean, they're all right telling us about Islamic extremism, but it goes both ways.
Yeah.
You know, there's Jewish extremism, there's Christian extremism. There's extremism, there's conspiracy extremism. You know what I mean? Where it's just like too extreme and daft and ridiculous and takes away from the actual overall initial thing. But that is the problem we're having. And if you just go on X and look at some of the videos of some of the rabbis at the moment and what they're saying and their plans for world domination,
they're open about it.
They're open about it.
They're open about it because they know that they've got all their pieces in place, so they're never going to get done. Even if it is, everybody knows about it, nobody's going to be able to do anything about it because all the nations are under control.
And if me and you say anything about it, you're anti-Semitic.
Yeah. And
this is a thing people need to understand. We're not just looking at this from some sort of biased viewpoint or saying it's all them. It's not. But when you break it down and you get into the crust of the religion itself, and you look at the prophecies and how that all ties into Christianity and even Islam, it's all like these Abrahamic religions that are all connected. Some would call it like the Judeo-matrix.
Yeah, 100% it is that.
And there are all ultimately what this is all leading up to, and what all these top rabbis are saying, very influential as well, is that there's going to be this big war in the Middle East, and it's all part of the prophecy, and all the nations that will turn against them will be pulverized, basically, and then the Messiah's going to return, and when their Messiah returns, then Israel will be declared as like the head of the world, like the top of the world order, basically. And everyone will bow down to their commands and stuff, which is kind of already happening by proxy, and has been for a long time.
I mean, name a country that Western country that goes against Israel. There ain't one.
And they don't last very long. No. They do. And they'll openly admit that and say that, you know,
if you come out against Israel, you're in a position of power, you're getting taken out straight away. Whether it's they'll bring out some scandal on you, or you mysteriously die of an illness. That's what happens time and time again. And you never touch the money, and you never talk about Israel.
Yeah,
they're the two things in politics that you do not do.
And it's sad as well because I try and be, you know, open-minded and fair and not being biased and stuff, because it could be viewers from all walks of life that are watching and listening to this. And you have to be fair, and you have to understand that people are just people. There's good and bad within all. But ultimately, when you're taught something from a very young age, and that's firmly planted into your neural pathways, it becomes very hard to see the world in a different way, doesn't it? And when you break free from the programming, you can see, you know what I mean, that there's a much bigger picture to all of this, even with religion itself, I think. Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, like you say, the Judeo-matrix of them somehow influencing all the books that have been made. I mean, prime example in the Bible, they even write the Jews are God's chosen people, but yet earlier in the book it talks about how every man and woman is made equal. So you know what I mean? They created, I think the majority that they created these later prophecies where it basically gets you a man and a woman worshipping the ideology of this so-called Son of God figure. But my take on it is most of them, all them stories come from pagan religion of what they actually see in the sky. They've just changed them stories into a human figure, basically.
It's really interesting as well. I seen a thing the other day, and it was explaining all the previous pagan gods and gods that far predate any of our texts and dates and stuff. And you can see, like, even the story of Jesus and other certain prophets and stuff, how things have been taken from deities and gods from tens of thousands of years that predate it, and they've rehashed and recopied. And
I mean,
it's just
like Viking history. I mean, you only watch a couple of the series to realise that obviously the Vikings were pagans. They came over here. They didn't want to change to Christianity. So what we ended up doing, and it's true around my way because I live where all the Vikings settled. So when they came here and it all calmed down a bit, what we decided to do is all their pagan burial grounds we built fucking churches on to force them to start worshipping Christianity.
No way.
Yeah. So that's basically what we did, forced it. But basically they took their stories of what they see in the sky, the sun, stuff like that, and they created a human deity out of it, basically.
No way.
Yeah, so...
Wow. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, it's like, because they firmly believe it so much and they're so ingrained within the religion, you see in America how obviously Trump's been so successful because we talk about Zionism and stuff in Israel, but the Christian Zionists are far, in terms of power structure and stuff, far more of a concern because obviously all the backing of Trump and then all the desire to get this third temple rebuilt and reshape the Middle East for the greater you-know-what project and expand the land into parts of Syria.
Yeah, I mean, once you see this, they've wiped out Palestine, all you'll see is them start to expand outwards, and that's what will start this war, I believe. So they'll start being attacked on all sides, and we'll go in defending them, and there'll just be this great war. So
we hope not. I mean, it's obviously the signs are looking that way, and it's quite doom and gloomy. But it's just from what they're saying, and the signs that they're showing us, and they're open about it. It's not just us theorising. I mean, one of the guys in Trump's new cabinet, I forgot his name, but the clips are out there. You can find them. And he's on a podcast recently, and he's talking about the end of the world, and he's looking forward to this great big war and the end of the world, and the Messiah is going to return soon, and Jesus, and all this stuff. And on the Christianity side, they believe that Jesus is going to return.
Yeah.
And then the Jews are going to accept Jesus and admit that it was wrong, and then Jesus will be then the new Messiah. And in the Jewish version, their Messiah's coming back. In the Islamic version, their Messiah's coming back, and it's all intertwined and connected.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a playbook they're following. That's all. That's all these religions are. I mean, it's been obvious for me for a while because they prey on the religious sect.
Yeah.
To go along with it.
Yeah.
Because I think in a way that the religious sect is one group of people they don't really control. It's atheists, they know they control straight away because they've replaced God with themselves. Government has replaced God for atheists, in my view. But for religious groups, they still worship a higher power than government. So I think that's why they use the religions they wrote as playbooks, so they go along with it, in my view.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And it was a lot of it was controlled opposition, wasn't it? And to get people away from paganism and stuff.
Yeah.
And obviously the Dark Ages and this and that. But I mean, what it's come to fruition is all these people just cheering on the end times and wanting to, and then people will say, oh, but look at this happening in the world and look at that. That's a sign because it says in the book on this chapter, look, it's happening, But
they don't think that someone could use that book as an excuse to do it.
No.
For people to accept it. Yeah. It wouldn't be possible, would it?
Exactly.
No, that's more likely, isn't it?
There are prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right?
And it's like this, their version. I'm not saying there's not a creator or a God. I'd say I'm more like agnostic, where I know there's kind of something else, but I just don't know. I think maybe we're not supposed to know. That's part of the human experience. That's just my theory. But and I think maybe if we did know, we'd lose. Well, they'd lose control. I think, like you say, I think if we.
I think people who are awake know within themselves that there is something else to this. I mean, it's how everything works is just too perfect, yeah?
Yeah.
You look at nature, it's just too perfect.
And that's the thing, it's like it's too perfect. So this their version of the God and the creator, if he's built everything so perfect and everything, why is he getting it to this point to then kill us all, wipe it all out? Like, and but don't worry, it's God's plan. It's God's plan. It's what he wants, so don't be scared of it.
Wouldn't be
it's
Satan's plan then.
Exactly. Exactly.
Well,
so, yeah.
Well, the synagogue of Satan, I think we know where that is, don't we? Hence the synagogue bit.
Well, yeah, that's very controversial subject on that matter. People say it means different things. But, yeah, it's very interesting. The whole thing's interesting. And like I say, guys, don't just, take our word for it. Go and do your own research.
What we'll say is, if you want to know where to start looking for the truth on what's really going on in the world, I would start at the Bolshevik Revolution.
Right, okay.
There. Start there. Find out what really happened there. Maybe listen to the last James English podcast, the first James English podcast with Ken O'Keefe. We'll listen to the second
that's
hour.
Explosive, wasn't it?
The second hour of that, and you'll get a rough idea. Once you go off on your own, find the stuff, you will know what's really going on in this world and in the Middle East, and it will all make sense.
Yeah.
It all makes sense. Because what you were told about what happened in World War II and before World War II is nothing but a lie. Nothing but a lie.
And I can imagine it's like that for all wars, World War One, this World War III that we've seemed to have been in for quite some time now, but by proxy on a smaller scale. You've got all these global powers kind of fighting amongst each others and using proxy armies in different lands, and it's very strategic what they're doing.
Yeah, but it's always go back to the same people though who's in control, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Every time you follow the money, always the same group. And there's a reason why they demonise National Socialism, what happened in Germany in the 1930s, so much. Forget about I'm talking about the economic policies, what they did there in Germany. And there's a reason why they demonise it. There's a reason why they declared war on Germany, these certain groups of people. Because that is the true case to freedom in this world. And people over there in Germany worked it out, done it, and it was the most prosperous, highest wages, everything in Europe in 5 years from being the cesspool of Europe, the world, in fact.
Right.
In 5 years, they turned it around.
Wow.
Just by taking certain people out of control, putting certain policies in place, and it prospered. I mean, you look at, after the war, there was a lot of people like Kennedy, General Patton, what's his name, Chamberlain, who was Prime Minister here. They all wrote things in their diaries and quotes you can find that will tell you the truth about Germany in the 1930s under Adolf Hitler. But that's for you to go and find. Yeah. We can't say a lot of things on here because we'll just be taken down. So
it's a funny one how you kind of taught from a young age and even through the education system, a certain narrative. But I think when you look deeper, there's always another side to the story, whether that's the right side or not.
And
I've
learned over the years, if you've taught something like the Earth, it's a flat Earth thing. If you're taught something, and as soon as you question it, you're shouted down and called an idiot or something like that, then there's something there. And there's something there. They're hiding something. Otherwise, why would they not? The truth, it defends itself, doesn't it, at the end of the day? If you can question something, fine, but you're going to find the truth, you're going to find the telling the truth. Yeah. Why do they not let you look into it, and why do they shout you down, try and stop you from looking into it? If they do that on any subject, that means they're hiding something there. And I found that so much with World War II.
Well, the stuff that you're not allowed to talk about or that you get censored for quite quickly.
There's a lot of things, big events they claim happened.
Right.
That you will learn.
I know you're deep on the World War II, aren't you?
It's not quite what they said by a long way.
And you know what? Without even knowing it, I'll believe that, or because what I see now going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lies and a lot of
Yeah.
misinterpretations of events and things that are happening, and not pointing at the people behind the curtain that want these things to happen for a certain reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure there was a lot of that in World War II as well.
Yeah.
But it's illegal in some countries, isn't it?
Germany, you can't question it now. Why can't you question it?
I thought if it's supposed to be a democracy, we should be able to question
You get
anything.
put in prison for anything related to World War II, basically, in Germany. That's why the people have to accept the narrative, and that's it.
Yeah. It's awful, man. I mean, it's just everything we see in history and everything going on now with all these mass genocides and countries experiencing awful situations. It just makes you think that, you know, why will, as a human species, why are we letting this happen now in 2024, 2025, tomorrow? You know, it's just like, it's crazy. Right? We've not really, we talk about evolution and evolving, but here we still are.
Yeah.
As a human race collectively, we should be saying enough of this shit. If you're causing harm and evil to another person, no matter what, then you should be stopped. And we're going to come together and stop it.
Yeah, exactly. But like what the Bolsheviks before World War II, they took out the Russian royal family, didn't they? They killed 40 million people.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even know about that.
No, and that's mainstream history. Yet when World War II started, we aligned ourselves with them. Why did we align ourselves with them?
Right, okay.
You know, at that point, Germany weren't going about killing people. You know, like their armies invaded different countries, but they didn't go, what we're told is killing civilians. No, they rounded up certain people, communists, Bolsheviks, basically.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want what happened in Russia to happen to the rest of Europe. That's the way you got to look at it.
Yep.
Plus, all they wanted to do is reclaim the land that we took off them at the end of World War One when they surrendered. They surrendered when they were winning, by the way, in World War One.
Right.
So, we aligned ourselves with the Bolsheviks, which were basically paid communists, went around killing all Christians and Muslims.
Just like what's going on in Syria.
Just like what's going on in Syria. We aligned ourselves with them rather than Adolf Hitler. Which is why Adolf Hitler didn't invade us, because he wanted us to join him. He didn't want to invade us. If he wanted to invade us, he'd invaded us. He could have done. He was there waiting. He just waited. He let our troops escape, didn't he? On the beaches of...
you know a lot more about this stuff than me.
You know, he could have sent the armies in. The armies stopped at... What's it called? Dunkirk, sorry. Dunkirk. His armies stopped. Literally, they could have just wiped out our whole army. Was sat on the beach waiting for boats out. He could have wiped out the whole army, but they waited and stopped. They didn't invade. They waited, and he wanted not a lot of many people understand this, but a lot of the British cabinet and side of the military wanted to join Hitler.
Right.
So the royal family wanted to join Hitler.
No way.
Half of them were German name.
Wow.
And it wasn't until after the war, obviously, we found out that what they allegedly did, and I say allegedly because some things to me are questionable, that all of a sudden all this demonisation of National Socialism and calling them Nazis, which does actually mean country bumpkin in Yiddish, I think.
Right, okay.
Nazi. It doesn't actually mean National Socialism, it's country bumpkin, basically.
Right.
It was just a slang term that was created. So he wanted us to join him. He didn't want rid of the British Empire. He actually quite liked the British Empire, apparently. This is just going from things I've researched and writings I've found from good historians, not mainstream historians. And that's why he turned east into Russia, hoping that we would join him.
Right.
And he could concentrate on getting rid of the Bolsheviks in Russia. That was it.
Yeah.
So
I think there was from what I've heard, there was some concern that what happened in Russia was going to happen in Germany, wasn't there? It was looking that way.
Oh, yeah, because they were slowly moving their way into Europe through Poland, stuff like that. And they were trying to provoke as well at the same time the Germans. they were killing all the German-speaking civilians that were left in the land that was taken off them, basically, at the end of World War One.
Right.
They were going in there, killing all the German-speaking civilians, trying to aggravate.
No.
At the end of the day, what's he going to do? They're killing his people. He sent them in.
Yeah.
Right. So that's in a nutshell. That's basically that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the guy was perfect. I mean,
No, not at all.
he was.
I want to question you on that as well. Like,
He wanted. I do believe he wanted the right thing for his people.
yeah.
And right, he wasn't a born and bred politician to do things the proper way. But he wanted to get things done, and sometimes he had to do not in a way that everyone would like. It was probably underhanded sometimes.
As they do, yeah.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, he loved his people and he wanted it done right. So, yeah.
I think what most people struggle with is with more like the race stuff and how it's portrayed.
Yeah.
Even myself, growing up, struggled with that. Like, you know, racism and stuff, or not being fully white or whatever.
Yeah.
And especially in the early 80s, 90s, we've talked about it before, but there's a lot of National Front gangs in the UK, skinheads, stuff like that. And I did get attacked by them myself quite bad, and told to go back to my own country. I'm like, what? I was born here. My family's Irish. What do you mean? So it's what you hear from a kid, and then obviously you see those kinds of guys back in them days who followed that. They just hate anyone of a different colour, race or anything, believe that they shouldn't even be in the country. But then I heard a really fascinating documentary about all this World War II stuff, and it was some historians, and they were actually looking for quotes that Hitler had made against races or anything that he'd said about the race sort of stuff, and they couldn't find one thing. It was all coming from a guy in his cabinet who turned out to be dodgy, let's say. So it's like, oh wow. So was a lot of the. So what I'm trying to say is, like, a lot of these Nazi groups and stuff who love Hitler stuff and all that. They've been sold down the river too. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So how do we know what's true and what's not?
You find like a lot of black Americans, like especially the athletes after the Olympics was in Germany, moved to Germany after the Olympics because they were treated far much better.
Right.
You know? I mean, the whole race thing with Nazi Germany is a little bit of the myth for me because it was the most multicultural army ever seen. He had Sikhs, he had Muslims, whole regiments and units. He had 189,000 Jewish soldiers in his army. He had black soldiers, whole regiments. He had everything. He even had, I think, 500,000 Jewish soldiers, Russian soldiers at one point fighting against their own Bolsheviks.
Right. No way.
So, you know what I mean? It can't all be what we're told.
No.
Because that just doesn't fit.
No, definitely not. And like I say, you've got to be careful as well, because you don't know with history what's true and what's not. But if anything, it's very interesting to go back and look at different sides and different things and make your own kind of mind up. Yeah. And then correlate that with what's happening today, and you'll see that, you know, things aren't black and white, are they? Yeah. Pardon the pun, but it's true. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it's safe to say, like, we definitely live in interesting times. And, you know, it's not all doom and gloom and fear-mongering, because, as my friend was telling me last night, we've been here before where we think, oh, it's the end and there's all this stuff building up and there's an accumulation of things now. There's something big coming. And we have been here before. And you know what? I think that no matter how corrupt and stuff a lot of these political systems are, and the men behind the curtain, the powers that be, I still believe, honestly in my heart, that there's good people on the inside too, that when things get too bad or something, maybe what they want to happen we don't even know about, and then there's people that stop it from the inside. And I think that sanity prevails, and I just hope that they don't get this great big war in the Middle East. I hope it, you know, goes the other way. And I hope that people can start fighting back against, the powers that be in the terms that you were saying before, like non-compliance, non-violent. Just say, we're not conforming in your system anymore.
That's all anybody has to do. Is just say no. They can't make you do anything. Just say no. That's it, and it's over tomorrow. If everyone just says no, it's done tomorrow.
Stop funding all these rebel armies.
Soldiers, all the soldiers have got to say is no. We'll stay on the shores, we'll defend the borders, stop the boats coming in, but we ain't going. We ain't going to no foreign war anymore. No.
Yeah.
People have just got to pay the tax. Say, no, we ain't paying it. What are they going to do? If everyone says no, what are they going to do? You hold the power, not them.
Yeah. Collectively, we do, definitely. If everyone came together and, like you said, didn't comply in the system.
Just remember, folks.
There would be no system because we are the system.
Yeah. All you remember is the truth will set you free. And it will.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's a very good point to end it on. So, guys, if you've been enjoying this and you want to see previous podcasts from me and Adam talking about all this stuff and more, please go and check out my playlists and you'll find them. This is the 5th one he's been on. If you've been enjoying it, please leave us a like, comment, subscribe, all that. Check out my link tree for other types of content and to stay up to date on future plans and stuff. 2025, a few days away, isn't it, Adam? So
yeah, and we will get around to doing a bit more, maybe a weekly thing at some point.
Yeah, that's our New Year's resolution to do something. We're going to try and get you set up at home, aren't we? So we can chime in and maybe get a little weekly report on the madness in the world. So, yeah, the intention's there, folks. Let's just hope life doesn't get in the way. And, we'll be back very soon for another podcast. Stay tuned and see you later, bro.
See you later, folks.
See you later. Bye.